I'm shooting this one horizontal. I've been shooting these vertical, and I've been getting a couple comments that are, oh, you hold the camera horizontal, not don't hold camera vertical because then it does the thing, and then I watch. YouTube's been adjusting these so that when you record vertical, it's also playing on YouTube vertical. But I'm still getting complaints, so I'm doing one of these vertical. The biggest distraction right now is that I'm looking at myself, but you can tell that my eyes are off. But if I look here at the camera, now it's sort of like I'm seeing myself, but in my peripheral vision, and it's really because I'm shooting these on my phone. I'm not shooting them with like a normal camera because I don't have my normal camera right now. Anyway, today's topic. Diets. As you notice, I also have a new marker. Trying to break the habit of looking at myself as I'm filming these. Diet. And trying to just focus right there. That's where the camera is. That's where you gotta look. So, diet. I was gonna make a different video today, and diet felt like the one that needed to be made. I realized that because I was cooking food, and I was gonna make a different video, and then I was like, no, I gotta do this because I feel like one, we're all sort of rebuilding, rebranding. 2 steps or 3 steps or 5 steps backwards, and hopefully at least an even amount forwards, again, hopefully one day. But nonetheless, it's diet's a thing that a lot of people struggle with and are confused with, and I feel like the more information is put out in regards to what works and what doesn't, the more people get confused by it. And then, again, as a person who is usually professionally a personal trainer or diet coach. I don't do the diet coaching as much. I know my field of my studying regarding diet was through the precision nutrition like textbook or system or whatever. I have a precision nutrition level 1 certification, and I forgot what I was gonna say after this. I do have my windows open, and I am hearing like the bus noises and stuff like that, but it's 60 degrees out today, so it's too nice not to have that open right now. But regardless, diet. Considering the job that I do, and sort of helping people achieve the results that they want and whatnot. I mean, one of the biggest things, I'm gonna go ahead and put this number up and you can look at it. I'm gonna write this number down. Fucking a big 9 and a big 0 and then a big percent. 90%. Diet is going to be 90% of you trying to achieve any level of personal, fitness goals or personal training goals or anything along those lines. At a baseline level, it's the food that goes into your body that your body breaks down and creates the cells with which your body is made out of. So it's literally, it's an oversimplification to say that it's just pure fuel for your body. But even if you're not exercising and you're not, the foundation of you as a human being is essentially more or less like, what do you eat and how does that affect, what your body looks like, how you feel, all these different things. So at the very least, know that it's important, and the way that really lends itself to, especially like an exercise setting, which the exercise portion takes up a majority of like what I do as a working or not working professional, is teaching people how to exercise correctly, safely, how to progress the exercises, blah blah blah. Hey, turn your music down, show some respect. um, it's mostly exercise related, but a lot of people come in and they say, I want to burn off a bunch of calories. I want to, I'm gonna do hit workouts, and I want to do a cycling class, and I want to do all these things, and I'm not. Despite the fact that my watch says I burned 800 calories, I'm not losing any weight. In fact, maybe I'm gaining weight, or number of different things that can happen with a number of different scenarios regarding a number of different people. But the sort of crux of it really comes down to, you're not. First of all, you're most likely not going to burn off all of the calories. You can't, like people say, you can't outrun a bad diet. You can't outrun a bad diet. You can't outlift a bad diet. The idea that you're going to burn off all these calories, and like that's just going to be the only thing, and you don't take diet into account at all. One is flawed thinking. Two is just like not realistic. And a lot of, when I'm talking about like precision nutrition and stuff like that, their main sort of basis upon which they build their entire coaching program has to do with setting up a baseline level of nutrition. So before we even get into like any of the math stuff or anything like that, like just sort of realize that it's not just fuel for your body, but it's who you are as a human being. And maybe there's cultural relevance towards you eat what you eat, because maybe you're from a Mexican family and you eat mostly Mexican food. Maybe you're from an Indian family, you eat mostly Indian food. Maybe from a Chinese family, you eat mostly Chinese food. Maybe you're like me and you eat 3 eggs and drink a cup of water and cry yourself softly to sleep every night. But nonetheless, no matter what it is, there's a number of different like cultural, social, mental, physical implications that you want to think of all of it as a holistic thing. So it's not just about plugging numbers into a calculator, and your body is not a machine, it's not a calculator, it's not a robot. You don't input data and then output, this is result of data. Does it work sort of like that? Yeah, sure. I mean, math is math, science is science, but like, you're a human being, so treat yourself like a human being. And one of the most important things you can do as a human being that has to eat food is try and build healthy habits over a long period of time. When you take into consideration how many people eat on the go, or eat at their desk, or eat in bed. I've been there. Eat before bed, like just before bed. Not, I ate at 11 p.m. but I went to bed at like 3 a.m. or anything like that. I shouldn't be eating at night. Like, that doesn't matter. But like, eating before bed, or like the types of food that you eat, comfort food, snack food, junk food, stuff like that. It's like you want to overall just have the mindset of like, what I'm putting into my body has some sort of effect. And if you put junk in your body, you're trying to create a body that's made of junk, right? And the most important thing with building any habit is to make small changes over a series of time. Like, I can't tell you how many people come to me and say, I want to try the keto diet, or there's this 21-day juice cleanse, and I'm going to do that, and then after that, then my eating's going to be I'm going to lose the 10 to 20 pounds of water weight, and then I'm going to be set, and then like we're going to go from there. And it's just like, it's a lifelong endeavor, and for a lot of people it's not an endeavor, it's a struggle. It's you treat this as a day-to-day, month-to-month, year-to-year sort of thing. You have to eat food every day. You have to eat so much food every day. Um, and you want to make sure that you're, creating good habits. I can't sort of drive that home enough. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else to say regarding that. Just, you know, and that's not enough for most people, because I do have a lot of clients that come in, and I'll say, this is like what your calories want to look like. This is what your fats, your carbs, your proteins want to look like. And a lot of people sometimes come in and they're like, I, I had one client ask me, like, well, don't I not want to eat a lot of protein because doesn't protein make you fat? You know? Or that's a more extreme example, but I'll get people that, or don't I not want to eat healthy fats? Or not even healthy fats, but don't I not want to eat fats at all, right? Anything with fat in it, you eat the fat and then it just gets stored as fat and it makes you fat, right? So I want to avoid fat. Or I want to avoid carbs because carbs make you fat. And it's just, you know, there's a level of, almost sort of purposeful misinformation so that, not to sound conspiratorial or anything like that, but companies and products and stuff like that do profit off of, selling you low fat chips, or they profit off of selling you keto pancakes, or they profit off of selling you gluten-free literally anything, or diet books that are selling you the carnivore diet. And that's not to say that everyone isn't trying to make a living. Obviously I'm trying to make a living here, but nonetheless, it's like there's misinformation regarding a lot of it that just gets perpetuated, or it gets sort of tossed back and forth from people, and there's things that work and things that don't work. But regarding, or I've had clients that have said, like, oh, I ate bad yesterday. I ate fried chicken, and I ate macaroni and cheese, and I ate like collard greens or something like that, and it's like, depending on how you cooked it and prepared it and stuff like that sounds to me like you ate a meal. That's not, I don't look at that and think like you didn't eat an entire cake by yourself like I've done a number of times. You didn't eat an entire case of Oreos like I've done multiple times. You didn't, that's food, and you need to sort of cultivate the mindset of like, what is food? And for a bunch of different people, that's going to be a bunch of different things. But chicken, pasta, rice, vegetables, fruits, nuts, berries, you name it. I just listed off a bunch of food, and yeah, there's healthier food and there's less healthy food. You can bake your chicken instead of frying it or deep frying it. But, at the end of the day, that's going to be healthier for you than leaving a bag of Skittles at your desk, and so just take those into consideration when you're planning out any sort of diet at all whatsoever. Is, you do want to cut down on certain things, and you do want to increase your intake of certain things. But, at the end of the day, if you're eating food, then you're being a human being. And if you're eating junk and shit and garbage, then, I'm not going to say that you're garbage, but it's like you're developing and you're perpetuating bad habits, yeah, I don't, and again, that's not to say that any of that stuff is, it's the repetition of it over a period of time that's going to, cause the most damage. It's not, if I were to go out and, I've been eating, surprisingly, not this entire, but most of this quarantine I've been eating pretty healthy. If I were to go out and eat a bag of Skittles right now, it'd probably make zero difference, because I'm keeping up with my diet, I'm keeping up with my exercise, like that type of stuff. If I go out and eat a bag of Skittles right now, I'm not gonna gain 2 pounds of fat from it, In fact, I'm keto right now, so it'll probably just replenish my glycogen levels, It'll probably go straight to my muscles, and, the rest will get, go to my liver and give me cancer one day 60 years from now. But nonetheless, you pair that against someone who maybe eats a bag of Skittles every day, or eats chocolate every day, or anything like that, and it's just like, just keep a balanced approach, keep a holistic approach towards all of this stuff. Now, where's my eraser? That's getting over the hump of things that nobody wants to hear, because people, just want results, and they don't want to have to think that this is like long-term work that they have to be cognizant of every single day. They want their results, and a lot of times people get their results and then they just stop at the results, and then they wonder, oh, how come I bounced back? How come after I lost 20 pounds, how come I gained 30? And it's like, well, did you try and upkeep it? Were you doing the same things, or did you do Pilates for a year, and did you go vegan for a year, and then you lost 20 pounds and you went, oh, well, I can eat, pizza and stuff like that now, and I can eat cake, and I can sneak some of this stuff? Or are you trying to, again, cultivate good habits and whatnot? That being said, people do want to see results. They're getting, if they're coming to me, for instance, they're paying to see results. And, I mean, here's an interesting thing. Let's say most clients come to me like one time a week, and then they're like, hey, give me some stuff to do on the outside. Let's say, or couple 2 times a week. Very rarely lately have I had any people doing 3 times a week at my job. Let's just say 2 times a week. So how many days are there? There's 7 days in a week, and there's 24 hours in a day. Let me just do the regular equal sign. That is 168. My head's in the way. 168 hours every week that you have for everything, right? For just everything that you want to do, you got 168 hours. Use them as you please. Let's say they come in for 2 personal training sessions, right? I sure hope that that's 168. The calculator's on the phone that I'm recording with. I'm pretty sure it's 168. I'm not gonna check the math on it. Roast me in the comments. I don't care. 166 is if you come in for 2 sessions, right? Whatever, who cares? 2 sessions a week. Let's say one person cancels 1 session a week, because you have some people that can't sort of like commit on a week-to-week basis, or some people that have legitimate lifestyle issues that, their calendar doesn't allow them to blah 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 blah. 160 hours a week. That's if you're personal training 2 times a week. That's how long you have your homework for, right? And so when people come in and they're like, oh, I'm paying all this money, I want to get my money's worth. I got 2 hours that I can drill all of this information into your head, 2 hours a week, and then the rest of the week you're on your own. Your workouts are on your own. The rest of your life is on your own. Your lifestyle choices are on your own. Your eating and drinking are on your own. And, that it adds up over the course of time. So that's just to sort of demonstrate, like, people can hold you accountable and stuff like that, but I mean, really, my job boils down to checking in with people and just like, how was your eating this week? Was it good or was it bad? Were you following some of the tips and tricks and guidelines that I gave you? If so, you're going to be on the right path. If not, you might not be on the right path. Things do have an appreciation for how long things take. Again, I point back to the fact that I've been lifting regularly in terms of like following programs and stuff like that. Not just like, back in college when I would lift or, screw around in the gym a little bit after college, but like how long I've been sort of meticulously planning programs and lifting heavy and getting some form of result in one way or another. It has been 2.5 to 3 years. Somewhere probably closer to actually 3, but I look at how much, if you look at my driver's license, for instance, it says 175 pounds. Now, at my heaviest, when I was like really trying to bulk up, I got up to about 250, and for me, I'm 6'4", so I have a already long, lanky frame. At 175, I was like stick figure skinny. At 250, I started getting like fat, and even as I've sort of like gone from big bulks to big cuts and sort of back and forth, and right now I'm sort of trying to do a little bit more of a staggered cut down to a reasonable like 10 to 12%. But it's taken 3 years to get to the point where I'm still not happy with where I'm at, and it might take 5 years, it might take 10 years. My go-to example is Omar Isaf. Has had his YouTube channel and has been like a professional personal trainer for 10 years, and always would get comments on his page about like, how come you lift all this weight but you don't look like a lifter? And he finally did like a cycle of bodybuilding and got all his proportions down and stuff like that. But I mean, this is a guy who's squatted and deadlifted tons of weight. I mean, not tons. I mean, if you were to add it all up, tons. But you know what I mean. Squats and deadlifts and bench presses and overhead presses, like a lot more than the average person. And I think he's done powerlifting. I think he's doing strongman, whatever. But like, it took him 10 years, as a natural lifter to gain a physique that people were like, all right, yeah, like I see it now, So this is where the whole cultivation of habits and all of these different things comes into play, is that it's 166 hours a week of your own time, or let's say you don't even do personal training. Now no one's holding you accountable. Now you have 168 hours a week that you gotta do. Shut the fuck up. You gotta do everything, and you gotta keep meticulous schedules for everything, and you gotta stick to your program, and you gotta stick to your eating, and you gotta do that for 5 years. Then maybe you'll get something out of it. Maybe you're a quick responder, or, especially as you get older, your body stops responding to a lot of this stuff. I'm 28 right now. I feel like when I was in college, I could work out for 4 months or something and get to the point where it's like I'm already a low percent body fat, and it's like, oh well, I worked out for 4 months and I ate a bunch, and it's like I think pretty good. Now that I'm older, it's like I'm 6'4", I gotta put a lot of weight on, but then I put a lot of weight on and then I look not right, and so I gotta cut down a lot, but then I cut down a lot and so I'm skinny. And so it's just, just keep it all in perspective, because a lot of people want results within a week or two, or they want it, within a month, or they want it as fast as possible. And unless you're willing to go through extreme measures, which most people are not, when I'm talking about extreme measures, I mean like extreme measures like strict dieting. Most people are not, and most people that think that they are going to fall off immediately. And I've seen it time and time again. And it's frustrating because you try and drill these thoughts into people's heads, and not everybody I think sometimes people understand it and they don't appreciate it. And it's definitely something that I've learned to appreciate more and more as time goes on. It's just like, man, I'm putting all this work in, and it takes a long time, unless you're a 17-year-old, football player, and the coach is just, slapping 500 pounds on your back and just you're eating 12 chicken breasts a day. Like, for most people, who work normal jobs, lead somewhat normal lives, go out on the weekends with their friends, have families, have kids, have significant others, try and maintain a social life. Like it's gonna take you a while. Don't get frustrated at the process. Anyway, math. The portion that everyone's waiting for. This video is gonna take a little bit longer than some of the other ones. Math. Number of different diets you can do. Again, this video is not the video for me to explain the benefits and the drawbacks to like the ketogenic diet or the carnivore diet or the high carb low fat or the low fat high carb or the high protein low protein medium protein, any of that. I do whatever the fuck you want, right? But within that, there's still rules that apply. They just apply in sort of a broader overall sense, which is in order for any metabolic change to occur, you need to you need proper nutrition for your cells. Otherwise, things aren't happening on a cellular level, and no change is going to occur. I've seen this with a client that was overweight, that was eating about 1,000 calories a day and just kept gaining weight, and was like, I don't understand how come I'm not losing any weight. I'm eating 1,000 calories a day. Like, I can't eat any less. And I told her to start eating more calories because your cells aren't doing what they need to do in order for you to burn the fat. Like, yeah, and there's other issues with stress and lifestyle and drinking and all these different things. But like the fact of the matter is, like, if you're not nourishing your cells with the nutrients that they need in order to create the change that you're trying to, see in yourself, then it's not going to happen. So, I don't like people overly focusing on counting calories, but the fact of the matter is it's just like, you don't have to do it, but it helps you understand where you're at, and where you need to go, and like about how much you need to be eating. Some people are really strict with it. Some people log every single meal. I eat mostly the same stuff, and I can eyeball things, and I've gotten, pretty consistent results through the process of doing that. Some people need just someone to stay on top of them. They need accountability, whatnot. Some people just completely don't do it all and like fare perfectly fine. There's a number of different ways to skin a cat, right? But the math portion of it. So here's what you can do. Okay, I'll start with your total daily energy expenditure, right? You got a couple different numbers. For right now, just focus on total daily energy expenditure, aka your TDEE. Now, what I want you to do is go on Google, type in TDEE calculator, and put in your height, your weight, your body fat percentage if you know it. There's like probably a couple other things. Yeah, I think your age, maybe your gender, but it's gonna spit out. You're gonna put all those numbers in depending on which calculator you're using. It's gonna give you a number. So this number is 200, and it's also gonna ask you for your relative activity level. So how many times per week are you relatively inactive? Are you sedentary? Are you, do you work like a construction job, and then you also lift weights and you're working out basically every single day of your life, sort of thing. So put those numbers in. It'll give you a number based on that. And all of these numbers, no matter if it's TDEE or basal metabolic rate or anything like that, these are all going to be estimations, because there's no real way. Again, your body's not a calculator, but you can get sort of close to, it's probably going to be around here, or maybe for me, my TDEE is going to be 3,000 instead of 2,000, or for a person that's, for a professional level strongman, that's going to be 6,000, and then you're eating 10,000 calories a day, in order to keep gaining it, like, or you're doing whatever, for a smaller person, for a person who's maybe 5'1" and weighs 110 pounds, that might be 1,500 or less or something like that. But just, go on here, figure out what the number is. Now, logic would dictate that if you're trying to gain weight, you want a bigger number than this. Now get this, if you're trying to lose weight, you want a smaller number than this. And everything else is just that, there's a number